Okay, good morning. Well, we're on the bottom of, I think it's Chav Gimel. Let's see. Yeah, the bottom of Chav Gimel Amud Beis. So the Gemara had a Mishnah that had to be explained. It wasn't so obvious. And as the Gemara has been saying, that the Mishnah seemed to have hidden, concealed the simple pshat about being Moser Madah to make a declaration before to nullify in the future nedarim, what we do by Kol Nidre. And it comes out that the Mishnah says two halachas. One was that a person, as far as Nidre is Ruzin, that the Mishnah earlier spoke about negotiating in business. One says not a penny less than 4, the other one says not a penny less more than 2. And both of them mean 3. So everybody agrees to that. And then this Mishnah says, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says, not only in business, but also people that are trying to be mezarez each other. They want to encourage and pressure somebody to do something. So that's also included in Nidre's Ruzin. And also it doesn't take effect. That's the Mishnah after the Gemara picks it up. That's what the Mishnah says. Also, it's the same thing with Nidre's Ruzin. And we skipped the whole sugya that means we did already, but jumping now to the Gemara and skipping the second halach of the Mishnah about being Mavatal and Neder beforehand. So the Gemara starts one line up. The Rabbanan argue means it says in the Mishnah that by business it works, and Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says also neighbors, not only in business, also neighbors. Also, there's such thing that did raise Ruzin and it doesn't take effect. So do the Rabbanan argue? It's only a and maybe not. And then the next question is, if they do argue, is the halacha like him or not? Means if they don't argue, then it's no machlokus. Everybody agrees. But if there is a machlokus, maybe the Rabbanan and the Rabbanan hold maybe only in business. Is there such thing as nidreis ruzin? Are we going to pass him like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov or not? Who says that nidreis ruzin, it doesn't take effect even by neighbors. Toshma ditnan ha'omer l'chavero konam she'eni nen alach im I ata notel lebincha kur shel chitin v'shtei chaviy shel yayin harez yachol ha'tiris nidro shelo pichacham shechalom alo klum amarta ela b'shvil kavodi zel kavodi. The Mishnah says that if somebody made a neder to prohibit benefit from his friend, unless you accept from me a present. In short words, here it says if your son doesn't come to take a core of chitin, which is a huge amount, and 2 barrels of wine, he says his son, because I don't expect you to come, but I want somebody to come from your family to represent you and come and pick it up. If you don't accept this present, I don't want to have, then I'm not going to have any benefit from you. That's also like kind of a pressuring. And here it says that it doesn't just say that it's nidreis ruzin, it says that there is a way to get out of it without going to bimat neder. And he could say that the reason why he wanted to give me the present is because he wanted to honor me. It means your real intention was not the actual point of giving me this amount of wheat and this amount of wine. You wanted to honor me. So my honor could be accepted in a different way. My honor is to decline. My honor is without accepting it. It means he should take the essence of what he meant to say and say, I could be Yosei that also. I don't have to actually take the wine and the wheat in order that you should not have to have the neder on you. My honor is not to accept it. But anyway, what do you see? It says it in a lot of words. The Gemara is going to speak out, but it says that it is a neder. You just have to explain it. But if you say nidreis ruzin is not a neder, then it shouldn't be a neder without any explanation, because he's just pressuring him, like in business. So now he's pressuring him to come to his house to eat by him, and it says if you or to accept. I'm sorry, to accept this present. So that's only a question of pressuring. So that shouldn't be necessarily a neder according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. And that's what the Gemara speaks out. Time with them is zel kvodi. The Mishnah is mashma that the only reason why it gets out of the neder is by saying that this is a translation of what my honor really is. But if not, it would have been a neder, and Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov wouldn't hold of that. Mani, who's the author of this Mishnah? Around 24a. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, 24. We're behind.
I'm up to 27. I heard this already.
Okay. Come on.
I'm up to 27.
If it will be a Eliezer ben Yaakov, you wouldn't need the neder in the first place. You don't have to matter in the first place because it's just pressuring somebody, and that doesn't have any effect. It must be that you're going to argue.
Maybe can you turn the camera on, please?
I'm sorry. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I forgot about that. Thank you. Thank you. It must be that this Mishnah holds that nidreis ruzin does take effect. So we have a machlokus. So Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov in our Mishnah says that by neighbors also nidreis ruzin does not take effect. He's just pressuring him, and this Mishnah seems to hold that does take effect. So the Gemara gets out of it. We could say that the Mishnah does agree to Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, and the point's going to be that when he's pressuring him, we could tell that he's only pressuring him. So then Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says that a nidre is using. But if it's possible that he really means it, so then it's not a nidre is using. It means the same thing as by negotiations. Well, we understand. You go to the market, everyone's saying not a penny less, not a penny more. We know that's just the way of talking and negotiating, and really they don't mean what they're saying. And here, when a person pressures his friend also to accept a present, it's like, what are you getting so excited about? It must be that he's just pressuring him, motivating him, encouraging him, but not that he really means it. So that's why the Gemara thought that this is a case of Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov should say it's not a neder. The Gemara is going to say it could be a case where it is serious, that he really means it. I really mean that you must accept this present. If not, I don't want to have what to do with you. Why is that? Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov behind the nidra havi. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov could agree that this case is a neder. We could say the case is talking about that the person has accepted many presents already. He's received very much, and now he says, "I want to give back something. I don't want to just be like a dog." Here it says that it seems to say that a dog only receives, doesn't give. He could say that a cow and a sheep, they also receive, they get food from their master, but they also give back, they plow, they give, but the dog doesn't. People say that the dog is very loving, but he just eats and doesn't do anything back. So
Doesn't wash the dishes.
right. So doesn't plow, doesn't. So that's an example of somebody who only receives and doesn't give back. So this person might have been receiving presents the whole time, and he finally has something to give back, and the person doesn't, and the giver, the regular giver doesn't want to accept. So he might seriously have said that if you don't accept it, then I'm making an neder that I don't want, that you shouldn't benefit from me. I shouldn't benefit from you, whatever the neder is going to be, because I really want to give it to you. And if you don't give it to me, I'm going to be like a dog that I'm only been getting and not giving. So therefore, the Gemara got out of it. I think we did it till here already, but it was a Motzei Shabbos. So this was the first kasha and teretz, first proof and rejection, that it's not a proof that there's no Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. Could be Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov also is talking over here, but this was a serious neder. And the Gemara is going to do the same thing a couple more times to find Mishnayos, which seems to be nidrei zuzin, and the Gemara is going to reject it by saying not necessarily, it could be that's a serious neder. But maybe everybody agrees that if it would be just a pressuring kind of a neder, and we know that it's not, it doesn't seem like it's serious. No reason why he should be so serious about it. If someone doesn't want to come to eat by him or get a present or give a present, why should he be so excited about it? So the Gemara thought that that's the nidrei zuzin, and the Gemara is getting out of it by saying it could be a scenario where it's serious. Tashma, another raya. It's the opposite case, that he's saying, I'm making a neder that you're not going to be able to benefit from me if you don't give me a present. So before it was nota, before it was if you don't accept a present, I want to give you. And it's the opposite, that I want you to give me. So if you don't give me, my son, a quart of chita and 2 barrels of wine, so then I'm making isser hana. So is it a serious neder? So here it has two opinions, but everybody holds that it has to be taken, it has to be considered. But Meir says, yeah, that he's going to be asaban if he doesn't give, so then he's going to be asaban. Whatever the neder is a good neder. But there's a way to get out of this neder also, without being mata neder. He could say that it's as if I accepted it. It means by the one who said you must give it to me. So he could say it's as if I accepted it. Since the point was that I want you to give me, I have the right to say, like a mochel kind of thing, that it's as if I would have accepted it. I don't have to accept it and give it back to you. If I wanted to, I could have accepted it and give it back to you. So it's as if I would have given it back to you. So the Rabbanan also agree that the neder is a neder, you have to deal with it. Rameir says it's mamash a neder. The Rabbanan say that you have to deal with it and get out of it by explaining that it's as if I accepted it and gave it back to you. But according to Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, that says that a nidrei zuzin is not a neder, this lachara falls under the category of nidrei zuzin. Time madam areni kilos kabalti. The only reason why you can get out of it is because it's as if you got it, he got it and he gave it back. Allah baki neder, what it would have been a neder. Why is it a neder? It's nidrei zuzin. Man, you Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov nidrei zuzin havi. It must be that the Rabbanan are arguing. Allah Rabbanan pligi. The one must be that there is a sheet that argues. So again, the Amish said that Blazal's nidrei zuzin even applies to neighbors, then it's not a neder. The more thinks it has a proof that somebody argues, because here it talks about a seemingly a nidrei zuzin of a neighbor saying, you must give me a present. Why is he getting so excited about it? It must be that he doesn't really mean it, and it's only to encourage and pressure. But the more says again, it could be that this was a serious neder. Don't make it like it's just a way of talking. Lo, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, it could be Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov is talking and everybody agrees to him, and this is not a nidrei zuzin. Behind the nidra, he'll agree that this is considered a neder. It's not just considered an encouragement. Honestly, the scenario could have been that he's been giving the whole time. The person who made the neder has been giving and giving and giving and never got anything back. So he says, like, I'm not a king. Before the case was, I'm not a dog, just accept. And then he's saying, I'm not a king, rich, that I have no problem, endless amount of money. I've been giving you and giving you and giving you, and you never gave me anything back. If you don't give me, then I don't have anything to do with you. So it could be also that it's a serious neder. If it's a serious neder, Rebbe Eliezer wouldn't say that it's nidrei zuzin. The whole question is, when there is a nidrei zuzin, what is Rebbe Eliezer? What does anybody argue Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov? But the Gemara got out of it. Also, this case could be that's a serious neder. We have reason to think that he really means it. That I've been giving you so much and you never gave me anything. If you don't give me, so then I want to make this neder. So therefore, the Gemara again doesn't have a raya. The Gemara rejected the second proof also. The Gemara tries a third time. Another proof. It's from our Mishnah alone. Our Mishnah, Tashma Nidri Onsin, which our Mishnah says that the parak starts. Nidri Zuzin is the first. Then there's Nidri Havai, then Nidri Onsin. Nidri Onsin would mean that he was onus happened. He wasn't able to fulfill the condition. And here's the Mishnah later on where it explains that Mishnah. That he made a neder. That here's the case. That's why the Gemara thinks that it's not. It's only a pressuring. It's only nidrei zuzin. He wants him to eat by him. I'm making a neder that you must eat by me, and if you don't, then I'm going to become masar. You'll be asar. And then he wasn't able to come to eat because he got sick, or his son got sick, or there was a river that was blocking, wasn't able to cross it. So that's this is. Since it was an onus, they meant to fulfill the net. He wasn't able to, so then the net doesn't take effect. What do you see? That the case of Ediru Chaver Shochel, so is a neder. Only in a case where the onus happened, but if it wouldn't have been an onus, so then the neder does take effect. And again, Allah Vachi Nederu, Mani, it should just be an encouraging kind of a neder, and a pressuring kind of a neder, and doesn't take effect according to Eliezer ben Yaakov. So what's the problem? It must be the Rabbanan argue. Don't you see a proof that somebody here argues and holds that a nidrei zuzin by neighbors does take effect? Again, the Gemara is going to change the scenario to be that it might be a case that it's not just Zeruzin. It could be that Eliezer ben Yaakov was talking and he would hold nidrei zuzin is nothing. So why is this neder? I'm making a neder, you must eat by me. Why is it a neder? It's just nidrei zuzin. Me savris the adre mizamna lezamina. Do you think that the case is that the host was making a neder to the guest? Means the regular host that he says you must eat by me, and if not, that's doesn't, it's not called for to make such a neder. So that's why it's called nidrei zuzin. But here the Gemara says the case was that it's not a nidrei zuzin because the case wasn't that the host was inviting the guest. It was the guest who initiated the invitation, and the guest said, "I'd like you to invite me." Lo, there's a mina adre lemazamna that the guest. The invite, the way the art scroll says, the invitee and the inviter. I'll just call it a guest, the host and the guest. That the guest is the one who
wants to be a guest.
And he was the one who was pressuring the host to invite me. So he said, "You'll invite me." So he said, "Yeah." Are you going to invite me to your meal? In. Yes. But then the guest wasn't satisfied. He said, "Neder ze'alecha, make a neder that if you don't invite me, that it's gonna be us. So make it a serious invitation." That so there the neder, and then he made a neder. So over there, you can't say that the host was trying to pressure the guest. He wasn't trying to pressure him. On the contrary, he didn't need any pressure. He was the one who initiated it. So then it's going to be a serious neder. If he agreed to make the neder, so it wasn't because he was pressuring him. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov himself wouldn't say that it's a nidrei zuzin. And then the only reason why it doesn't take effect is because if there was an onus, and then he wasn't able to come because he was sick, his son was sick, or that neder. But if it would have been a case of pressuring, maybe the mission would have said, "No problem, that's nidrei zuzin."
Why then nidrei zuzin? The Shasta neder was a total good neder. Afterwards, they got sick.
Okay, that's going to be a sugya bonson later on. That's going to be we'll get to that. But the Gemara doesn't want that. Yeah, the Gemara, I don't know the answer. The Gemara doesn't want the onus. The Gemara wants to know what's the problem without the onus. Why is it a neder without the onus? Because if it's a regular case of you must eat by me, usually that's just a nidrei zuzin. So the Gemara says the case was where the host is not the one who started up. He wasn't trying to pressure him. On the contrary, he was being pressured, and so it's not a nidrei zuzin. But the halacha that the onus takes away the neder, that'll be the end of the Mishnah with. where we'll get up to, it says on the side that comes on.
And it's a good neder, it's a good neder?
So that will be a neder because he wasn't pressured, he wasn't trying to pressure anybody. But if it will be a nidres ruzin, then maybe Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov is agreed upon that it's not a neder, it's like negotiating that you take, it's not serious. Tashman, the fourth proof. Yeah, this is a price which is very similar to the Mishnah. The Mishnah before spoke about that the first Mishnah speaks about business, negotiations, 4 and 2, everybody means 3. And then the Mishnah says, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says, even by neighbors also. And here's a brisa which is echoing the same idea of the brisa of the Mishnah that Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says, even by guests. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, ha'omer lachavero konem shani nenalach im I atam v'sareich atzli v'tochalim paschama v'tishtem koschamin. Someone said to his friend, I'm making an eder that I'm going to be, if I'll benefit from you, that I'll benefit from you if you're not going to be a guest by me, that you're not going to be a guest by me and eat with me hot bread and a cup of hot wine, hot water, whatever it is. So this is almost the case of the Mishnah that says that Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says that there's a nidrei zuzin also by neighbors, and such a kind of an neder is not a neder, and that's what Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says. This kind of an neder, not only about business in the shuk, that one says 4 and one says 2. This also about lo hikbet kenegdo, and the other one said it back to him. Not. He said if you don't eat by me, and he said if I do eat by you, both of them are nidrei zuzin. Both of them, the one who initiated the invitation, the host that says you must come to me. The other one said I'm not going to come to you, and I'm going to ask myself if I do come to you. All these is nidrei zuzin, and that's what Elazar ben Yaakov we know already. But now the brisa goes on board in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says lahodu lo chachamim. That's what we're looking for. We wanted to know if there's a machlokas, and here it says lahodu lo chachamim. My love, the words are very clear. They didn't leave a space here between the words, but that's chachamim, right? And the answer, and my lahodu lo chachamim. What does it mean when it says lahodu lo chachamim? Lav dafilu become ma'isa. It's not even in the first case. So the first case means this Bryce that's mentioned had a case that the host is the one who said you must come to me. If you don't come to me, then I'm gonna make Isra no. And then it says that the one who was invited, the invitee, he said back also another. The Gemara understands that the second case is not a nidrei ruzin. We can understand in the second case that the reactive one, the one who said back, that's not a nidrei ruzin because they say what the Gemara said before. I'm not a dog. I'm not a dog just to receive. You're forcing me to eat by you. I don't want to eat by you. And then the Gemara here said not only because he had been only accepting the whole time, but even this one invitation that he says you must eat by me, and he says I don't want to, and leave me alone, and I'm making another that I'm not going to. That the Gemara understands that it might not be a nidrei ruzin. But in the first case, that one who initiated it, that's mamash a nidrei ruzin. He comes to his friend and says you must eat by me, and if you don't eat by me, I'm going to make a no. That's a nidrei ruzin, and it seems like Chachamim argue on that also. The Elazar ben Yaakov said 2 cases, in one story with 2 parts. That the host initiated, the one who wants to be a host, and then the guest reacted and said, I'm making another back. So if they argue on the second case only, it wouldn't be a trial question. But if they argue even on the first case, so that means that's a regular nidrei ruzin, and they hold that does take effect by neighbors. Isn't it even in the first case? The Gemara in our Girsha doesn't say anything back. It doesn't say no. The Rishonim here, they say, put in over here 2 words. That don't you see a proof of the argument even in the first case? You see that nidrei ruzin, the Rabbanan argue and say that it does take effect. Here the Gemara says Shema Mina, but our Gemara says Shema Mina, it's a good proof, and the Gemara doesn't try to get out of it by saying no, it's only going in the second case. There are those that have a gears over here that say, no, with us Raisa, they're not arguing even the Kamaisa, it's only arguing in the second case, then it's not a proof. So that would be a question, how come if the Gemara matcha or not matcha, but anyway, the Gemara according to our Gemara, seems to say that this is a good proof that the Rabbanan argue. And they want to say that nidrei ruzin is only a ptor, only a heter by business and negotiations in the shuk. But by neighbors, when they say these things, so it is a good neder. But now the Gemara wants to know who you paskin like. If, like the Gemara said at the beginning, do they argue? And if they argue, who do you paskin like? Ma'av yallah, what's going to be about it? Like what's going to be the psak? Tashma dam Ravuna halacha Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. He does say halachas like that. So even though we found out this statement also would show that they're arguing also. If you have to say halacha Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, it means that they're arguing. So we found out that they do argue. The Rabbanan say that nidrei ruzin is only in business, in the market. And Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov says it's even by neighbors. And Rabbanan argue on that. But we pass like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov that it's even by neighbors also. So if somebody's pressuring, all the cases are pressuring, so then the neder doesn't take effect. But we did have all the Gemaras that said if it's serious, it might be a serious thing when he says you must eat by me, or you must accept the present, or you must take a present. All these kind of cases. I'm not a dog. I'm not a king. All these other, or the case where he wasn't pressuring because the guest, on the contrary, the guest was the one who was pressuring to be invited. So all these cases, there would be a serious neder. But if it will be just a nidres ruzin, it passes like a the nidres ruzin does not take effect even between neighbors, not only in business.
And to make the neder over here, or it's b'di'evet nachal.
So are you allowed to do it? So we saw, I had written in my notes that it says that it's usher. I must have gotten it from the Shulchan Aruch, or
I need to
that's
use
it,
it,
you know.
but all four types of stuff.
I don't see it. I don't know. I think the next one, I think that's mutter. But not because I saw it now. I just think that we'll see right now. But the first one, I just have written down in my Gemara that even though it says that you don't have to be matar neder, one mother even though you have to be matar neder. You pass no, you don't have to be matar neder. So you don't need that doesn't door. But I'm allowed to do it. So I have it now that you're not allowed to do it. I must have gotten it from the Shulchan Aruch, but I didn't see it.
It's reason it's worse because you matzia on your own. Over here, someone's forcing you to do it. This is reason you come over to the Meich and says, I'm not going to use that from the Shem. So it could be you shouldn't make such an edit. Over here, you have someone driving you crazy. You can't get rid of him. Maybe there's more of a reason you're allowed to.
Can't tell you. Okay. The next Mishnah. So the Mishnah had four, and so far we just did the first one, Nidre Zeruzin. That meant that you're just encouraging and pressuring, like we had in the negotiation case, or also by Allah Maisa, even I guess by neighbors also. Now the next one is Nidre Havai. The word Havai we would call, in our language, we call exaggeration. The word Havai means like a shtus. It means something that can't be hevel. So what is that? And the Gemara say the Mishnah says cases of things that are exaggerated. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that you don't mean what you're saying. It's such exaggeration. And just to get the word exaggeration means that everybody knows that it's exaggeration. I told you a million times. Everybody knows that you didn't tell them a million times. That's an exaggeration. If you said I told you 5 times and we only said 4 times, that's not called an exaggeration. It has to be something that's obvious that it's exaggerated. I saw on this road, I saw as many people as came out of Mitzrayim, 600,000, or you want to double it by the women and children or whatever, but he didn't really see 600,000 people. And everybody knows he didn't mean that. He just saw a huge crowd. Or simple pshat of the Mishnah would mean I saw a snake as big as a beam. A car is a beam, Beis Abad is a oil press. They had a beam that would press down on a big beam. So I saw a snake as big as a beam. So it's understood at the simple pshat of the Mishnah means there is no such snake, and he didn't mean such a thing, and therefore it's an exaggeration and it doesn't take effect. Means even though he really didn't see all the Mitzrayim, he just saw a lot of people, or he didn't see a snake which is as big as a beam. He saw a big snake. If he didn't see a snake at all, he didn't see, and there were no people there at all on the road. So then it's then the neder does take effect. Not because, but if the understood truth took place, and he just said exaggeration, you don't have to fulfill the exaggeration. It doesn't have to be that it was fulfilled literally, because we're not taking it literal. So even though he said the holy Mitzrayim, he doesn't mean it, and even though he didn't see on the road holy Mitzrayim, he doesn't have to. The bread doesn't become masa. Whatever he said, this bread is going to become masa if I didn't see as many as holy Mitzrayim on the road. Even though he didn't see as many holy Mitzrayim on the road, he doesn't. The bread doesn't become masa. But the Rishonim speak out. If he didn't see any people on the road, mamash a plain lie. So plain tonight. So then the neder does take effect. But if the exaggeration didn't take place, it's okay. They gave 2 examples of an exaggeration: that a big crowd as big as Olam Mitzrayim, and a nachash as big as the Korah Beis Abad. First one talks about Shavuos. We're talking about nedarim. And Shavuah is more chomer maybe. The fact that he says I swear means automatically by the name of Hashem. And is he allowed to swear with an exaggeration? Now we learned in the Brayso Nidre Avoim B'Torah Shavuos Avai Asurin. That even though our Mishnah says that the neder Avai does not take effect, means we understand they don't take it literally. But by Shavuah, he wouldn't be allowed to do that. Maybe it even Asurin means that you have to keep the Shavuah. Someone said a Shavuah, he's gonna. So the Gemara is gonna just figure out the technicality of what is the case of the Shavuah. But Shavuah is more chomer, and therefore, and the probably because it has the name of Hashem, it's by Hashem's name, and therefore it's awesome. There's another Gersa just point out, we shouldn't talk about that. Right on the side here, it says, there's another Gersa that says Shavuos Avai is also Mutaros. Hashem Shenidri Avai Mutar Mkach Shavuos Avai Mutar is the opposite. Bechin Gersa Rambam, Bechin Petasefta, Samam is two Gersos, the exact opposite. One of them says that Shavuos Avai is also, the other one says Shavuos Avai is Mutar. But we'll take our Gersa, that's to read our Gersa, that you're not allowed, that is also. And the more just wants to know what's the case. The halach is fine. The Shavuos Avai is also. What's the case? What is the case of the exaggerated Shavuah? If you take the same case as our Mishnah, but instead of Nedi, you put the word Shavuah. Shavuah, that literally an oath. If I didn't see on this road, Kolim Mitzrayim. So the more asks, Midam Komar, did he say anything? Midam, the word Midam was like Midi in the regular. This is like the Lashon, nedarim. They say it's not the regular terminology. The style of nedarim is different. Midam is more of a Yerushalmi way of talking. It means something. Did he say anything? Midam Komar means the words don't make sense. If someone says Shavua, if I didn't see, the words don't make sense. Shavua, if I didn't see on this road 100,000 people, 600,000 people, the words don't make sense. Shavua what? Fine, what does nether mean? Nether means I ask her something. I ask her a piece of bread, whatever. I ask her apples. I ask her whatever. I'm answering something. If I didn't see, but the Shua doesn't make sense. If you take these exact words of nether, the whole phrase, and you replace the word nether with Shua, the sentence doesn't make sense. So not that I making a Shua im lo reisi if I didn't see, but I swear that I saw. Shua, I swear that I saw 600,000 people. Called them Mitzrayim. And that's the case. That's exaggeration, and it says that it's awesome. You're not allowed to do that. He says Pshita. Why is it so Pshita? I'm not sure why it's so Pshita. Because it's Pshita that you have to say that it's Pshita that it's Asar. He said Nidri Avai is Mutar. We're saying Shavuah is more Chomo. Why is it so Pshita? What's the Chiddush? Why is it not a Chiddush? If you say exaggeration, it's understood that you don't mean it literally. So he says, I swear that I saw Kolim Mitzrayim. It doesn't mean all of Mitzrayim. It means a lot of people. But that Gemara says Pshita. I don't understand. Why is it so Pshita? And the second reason Rabbi doesn't like Ba'is Pshat, it says the exact same case. Neder in contrast to Shvuah. And if the case of the Neder is im lo Neder konam im lo reisi v'derech hazeh kolim Mitzrayim, so the case of the Shvuah will be the exact same case. Just replace the word konam with Shvuah. So he's trying to go back to the original pshat, and the Gemara said it doesn't make sense. Rabbi's going to try to make sense out of it. Elam Rava ba'omer, the case would be the case will be similar to the Mishnah, but instead of a nether, it's a Shvuah. The nether would be I'm answering the fruit, whatever it is, the bread. I'm answering it with like a korban. If I didn't see on this road, calling Mitzrayim, and the case of the Shvuah would be that the Paris should be usher on me with a Shvuah, as if to say I make a Shvuah that I'm not going to eat the Paris if I didn't see on the road calling Mitzrayim. That would be the parallel case to Neder. By Neder says that it's Mutar, but Shvuah says according to our Girsa, it says that it's Asr. So the more found the case, and the more is happy. The more continues with Sugya. It's really a new Sugya now. We could put a period here and start a new Sugya. Amalei Ravina starts a new Sugya. And it's going on to exaggeration. And the Gemara is going to talk about exaggerations and say, why are you so sure that it's an exaggeration? If he says calling Mitzrayim, why are you so sure that it's exaggerating? People, and of course he didn't see 600,000 people on the road. The road over there that he's pointing to couldn't even have held 600,000 people. It's surely, if he meant people, then it's an exaggeration. But the Gemara is asking, who said that's what he meant? Maybe this man, he saw a nest of ants. The word Shimshimani, Nimalim, ants. He saw a huge amount, he saw a bunch of ants, and he calls them Olim Mitzrayim. Means that whenever he sees a huge amount like that, and it could be that it's 600,000. When he talks about ants, it could be that there's 600,000 ants over there. So how do you know that for sure he's talking about people? And he must have been exaggerating, and therefore there's nothing. Maybe he's talking about a swarm of ants, and he's being literal. And he called it Olim Mitzrayim, even though they didn't come out of Mitzrayim. They're not people. They're not. And maybe he's not exaggerating. Maybe it was Mishtaba means Mishtaba or what are we talking about? Nether. Either way, it's back to the sugya, not about Shua Dafka. That maybe it's not exaggeration.
Mishtaba means to talk.
Mishtaba means to swear, Shua.
Oh.
You're talking about Mishtai. Mishtai is the word to call. Mishtaba is like, and the point is to say that here we're not going to Shua Nether. There's no difference. The Mishnah says Nether. The question was a Shua is a Mocham or not. But the point is, how are you so sure that it's exaggeration? You're assuming that it means people. Maybe he meant something else. Amalei ki mishtaba daite dan mishtaba. when he makes a shvua or neder, all these, we'll use the word interchangeable. When he uses makes a shvua, he means, according to what we understand, means when people talk, even though he had some personal idea what he was talking about, that's not the way that we translate what he means. He means according to what we understand him. And most people, we don't call maskina, I'm not sure what the word usually means. You put up a name, but nafshin, we don't call Olim Mitzrayim ants. We don't call ants Olim Mitzrayim. So even though he personally might have made such a thing, but we don't go with what he personally might have meant. We go with the spoken language, and we don't mean that. When he says a neder or shvua, he means according to the way it's understood by most people. Oh, period. That's the period. Yes, please.
And I feel going to say that he did all that himself, but to me, that's guy man.
Maybe that's what the Gemara means. Maybe that's what the Gemara means.
The Gemara, if we would know that that's what he meant, it wouldn't make a difference because the diet then that's the.
The Gemara is talking that even if we do know, even if he does, even if we believe that's what he meant, he has. Okay, I hear. The Gemara is saying that even if we would believe him that he meant that, but when he talks, he talks according to our language, and it takes effect according to the way it's understood. Okay. The Gemara says that the Gemara is going to argue this point. Is it true when a person makes a shvua neder? Is it understood the way we understand it, or the way he might have meant it? Does a person not make a shvua on his own intention? But Tanya, this is talking about in Bezdin. It's also the lashon is also by Yuma, by the Kohen Gadol when he did the Ketores, but this is quoting from making a shvua in Bezdin. When they somebody make a shvua in Bezdin, when they make a shvua, so they say, don't make any kind of thoughts in your heart to mean something else that we wouldn't understand. When you say the words, you mean it according to the way it's understood by us, the way we understand it, us and Bezdin. So that's what it says in the Mishnah. When you make somebody make a shvua in Bezdin, you tell them you're doing it al das Bezdin. What does it mean to say? Doesn't that mean to say that even though usually a shvua might be the way you mean it, but in Bezdin we're saying that we're saying specifically you should do it al das Bezdin. Lafuke mai, lav lafuke dasik lehule eskundri, vasik lon shma zuzi. That the case will be that don't make any tricks and think and say the word zuz. You might say the word zuz. I paid them whatever 100 zuz, and the word zuz means money. But maybe he made that the word zuz should be a skundri. Skundri actually seems to say like dice or something that's valueless. That's a piece of coin, a worthless thing. Rashi seems to say dice. I see. Rashi is. What do they say? What do they say? Pisim shemasachkim bahem. I guess that's dice. Playing chips. Okay, and it doesn't have to mean money. And he might have given him a bunch of chips. So don't they make any tricks? Don't say the word zuz and say that you mean and think that you mean something else besides how it's taken by us. When you say the word zuz or dollars or shkolim, it's according to what we understand it. So since you have to speak it out, doesn't that mashma that or else he could have done it according to his understanding? Since we have to speak out and tell them you're doing it al datenu, doesn't that mean that there is such a thing as making another the way he thinks? So in our case, our Mishnah we said about he saw not in Bezdin, he's just saying, I swear, or I make another that I saw a Olim Mitzrayim. Maybe in his terminology, he called Olim Mitzrayim these ants. So the Gemara says, no, that's not trying the Mishnah over there. For that, he wouldn't to call dollars, and he meant playing chips. You don't need any kind of special thing about das bezdin. The word dollars means dollars. The word the zuzi means zuzi. The case over there is a different case. What's scared of? Lo, famous story there. Lafuke mekanya the Rava, to exclude the case of the cane. Kanya is a stick, a cane of Rava, and it says a story, very interesting story. The hugava have a masik v'chavri zuzi. Somebody owed his friend money. The masik means that somebody was owed money. Also, the Malvad came and he said, he owes me money. It's a mistake here that it says Li. It should have like apostrophe. It means Li. He told, so Robert, the battalion told the Lord, pay him up. He said, I paid him up already. So then swear. If he says you owe me, you didn't pay me, and he says, I'm not chayiv, kol for a kol, so you have to swear. So he was there, I'm going to swear. Also, Vaisi Kanya, V'yov Zuzi Begavei, V'v'mistamich Vazil, V'asi Ale, the Beidina. So this Lova, that really owed the money, he was a real trickster. So he went and got a cane, and he put the money inside the cane, a hollow cane. He put the money inside the cane, and he was walking on it. He came to Bezdin. Amalei the Malva, the Kotai Kanya Biotcha Nesef Sefer Torah, V'Shtaba de Pare. Nesef Sefer Torah, not Shayu. So he told the Malva, please hold my stick for me. I have to take the Sefer Torah. He was going to swear on the Sefer Torah. So he said to the Malva, who he's arguing with, please take my cane so I can take the Sefer Torah in order to make a shvua. And he said, V'Shtaba de Pare. He swore that he paid him. Why did he swear that he paid him? He wouldn't have made a shvua sheker, but because he really paid him. Because the Malva was now holding the cane that has the money inside. And he swore, I paid you back everything that I owed you. That Malva, he got angry. He got furious. You swore falsely by the Sefer Torah that you paid me the money. I know you didn't pay. I know you didn't pay me the money. The Tabra Laukanya, he broke the cane on the floor. On the Zuzi Lara, and everybody saw the money. The cane broke and he saw the money. Everybody saw that what the strict was. And they came out that he swore truthfully. It means we found out that he was the gunner. That's okay. Bezin was successful. Rabbi said, okay, take back the broken cane and give him all the money inside. But the point was that a person could make a shvua, not calling money dice and playing chips. No. But he might have made a trick that when he says, I paid you back all the money, because I paid you back all the money. And it's not the way we understand. We understand when you pay back money, it means you tell the Malva, here's the money that I owe you. They give him a cane, and he himself doesn't know that he received it. That's not what we mean. So that's why we have to say al datenu. I'm not sure why that's not also included in al datenu of al das business. Why is that not included? The Gemara makes a chilik. They really, when a person says money, it can't be that he made up the word money means something else. Money means dice. He has to mean money, and that goes without saying. But the case of the cane over there, you have to speak out al datenu. That wouldn't be automatic. Because he says, I paid you, that also could be, I paid you in the cane also. I don't understand the chilik. It seems to be some kind of a delicate chilik. But the Gemara is still taking the position, the Gemara defended it, that when a person says something, it's al datenu, but it's the way we understand it, not the way he's going to invent that the word Olim Mitzrayim means ants.
Sure, they must be. Surely that a king has to be with das of the receiver of the. There was the guy who was owed money. He didn't know he was giving money. So that's
yes, the guy. If he would have taken back the cane, the plan was to get the cane.
I understand, but I'm saying that he didn't know that he was holding the money in his hand at that time. So there's no conscious deal going on. It's not true. I mean, it's true physically, but it's not true.
That's what we're talking about. So we tell the guy when you make a shvua just to get this point that that's what we're saying, that when he makes the shvua, we tell him that you're making the shvua the way we understand. So therefore, when you say I paid back, it doesn't mean you paid back something that we don't know about. It has to be you paid him back in a way that he knows about it. That's what we're saying.
The question that halachically he never gave it back.
The shvua is a true shvua. That's the more the Indian over. Of course, he's a Ghana, but the point is that he swore, "I gave you back everything that I owed you."
I don't know if that's called giving back.
If
the cane would have got stolen from the hands of the
Malva. We're not talking about he wasn't trying to pay him back. He wasn't trying to pay him back.
I'm saying since halachically it's not considered paid back.
So that's not the subject. Subject is my words. I said I gave you back all your money.
I gave back.
So he says, I swear I gave back all your money. Did I not? I gave back all your money. So that's what we're trying to avoid such kind of things. So we tell them you have to do it on das bezdin. But that you have to speak it out.
So the akati is that it didn't work, right?
We didn't get to that yet.
Oh.
So the Gemara Kasha with the teretz. So far the Gemara had a Kasha from the case of the Mishnah that you tell him about das bezdin that minastam the shvua might mean his own idea, his own dreams. And the Gemara says no. The case over there, money surely means money. You don't have to have a al das bezdin to pay.
Was it truth? Was it true? The eshkach,
that's part of the story still. And it came out that he did say a true shvua. The case over there with the cane.
And it came out that he said
a true shvua
because he had paid back.
Right,
because
and
he
therefore
hold this cane.
Right,
and he made a kinyan on the cane.
No, kinyan. He was holding the cane. He didn't make a kinyan. He said, "I gave you back everything that I had got from you." Those words are true.
I gave you back.
And that was his trick. And once we saw that trick, so we said, whenever you make a shvua and bezdin, you have to do it the way we understand it. And we understand when you say that I gave you back, it means I gave you back the loan the way everybody's saying it. But we have to speak out that you have to do it al das bezdin. But what the Gemara does want to say is that to say that the word money doesn't mean playing chips that you want to, that you don't even need to, you don't have to even speak out to do it al das best. That's what the word means. That's what the Gemara is saying, that he's not doing it al dato, he's doing it al das best, even if you don't make him specify him doing it al das best. So the Gemara is still holding on to the position that someone who says something is understood the way we understand it. And the case of the Olim Mitzrayim is not talking about ants, it's talking about people, and therefore it's an exaggeration. The Gemara goes further. The Gemara is trying again, challenging it again. Is it not still? It means still. Still, is it not true that a person might swear according to the way he means it? When Moshe Rabbeinu made the shvua to Am Yisrael, he adjured them that they should keep the Torah in Arvas Moab. That's Arvas Moab is the east of the Jordan. That's when they had the shvua. They had another. That's next. That's in Parshas Nitzavim by Zinu. So when Moshe Rabbeinu made them swear, he said, "You should know that you're not swearing according to the way you mean it, but according to the way I mean it, the way Hashem means it. So don't make a shvua and make your own ideas. You should know that the shvua is according to the way it's understood by Hashem." And the Gemara is darshaning, not the way it is by you, according to the Drash. Not the way it is by you, but the way it's understood. Hashem knows and I know. So what did he mean to say? That's the most same question again. Why did Moshe Rabbeinu have to speak out that he shouldn't do it al datchem? What do you mean? That means that a shvua might be al datchem. When a person makes a shvua, he might make up his own ideas. My amalu Moshe Yisrael. What did he mean to tell them? Lavachi kamalu. This is what he meant. Tim lavidatun mili va'amrisun al datenu. Mishemach yamalu al dati. The more seems to be pretty long over here. It seems to repeat it. Lafuke mai lav lafuke. I didn't see the gersas, but it sounds like the line is extra or it's a double gersa. What did he mean to tell them? That they might have done something on their own das, which is what? Maybe they're going to say, we're going to serve God, but they call the Avodah Zarah God. So when they say, we swear that we're going to serve God. So Moshe Rabbeinu meant Hashem, and they meant Avodah Zarah. So if so, don't you see again that a person might make a shvua with his own ideas and not the way it's understood by everybody else? So if so, and Moshe Rabbeinu have to speak it out, that he can't do it al datchem, he's doing it al dati. So the only so once again, you see that a person would make a shvua the way he means it, and maybe again by our case, maybe this the only Mitzrayim means ants, that he means ants when he says that. The more says, just to finish it out, the more continues. How do you know that the Avodah Zarah is sometimes called Eloah? You find that Avodah Zarah is called Eloha. So just because they said Aloha, they say we mean Avodah Zarah. So don't you see that the shvua might be on their intention and not the way it's understood by the listeners? But the Gemara says if so, there would be a way to get out of it. Moshe Rabbeinu wouldn't have had it. The Moshe Rabbeinu tried a bunch of ways how Moshe Rabbeinu could have narrowed it down that they had to have meant what he said without saying beferish al dat al dati. So instead of saying just loka, that they're going to serve God, he should have said that we're going to observe the mitzvahs. That would have already been narrowed down. What does mitzvahs mean? Mitzvahs means Hashem's commandments. So that would have been enough without das dati. Why we're trying to defend? We're trying to bring a proof that a person might have made a shvua on his own. Again, which way are we going after? That's the juggle back and forth. The Gemara, when it brought the proof that Moshe Rabbeinu had to say you're doing it al dati, that they shouldn't have said that we're going to serve God, and they might have meant. So the Gemara said if that would be the shot, he could have said, make a shvua that you're going to do mitzvahs. And that, what does the word mitzvahs mean? Aloha might mean Avodah Zarah, but the word mitzvahs surely means mitzvahs. The Gemara says no. Mashma mitzvahs hamelech. The word mitzvahs doesn't necessarily mean Hashem's commandments. The commandments of the king is also called mitzvahs. So it wouldn't have been clear enough. Then he should have said, do all the mitzvahs. All the mitzvahs surely means the mitzvahs of Hashem. No, mashma mitzvah, for some reason the kol mitzvahs wouldn't have meant the king's commandments. So no, the Moshe says also kol mitzvahs might not have meant all the mitzvahs. Mashma mitzvah tzitzis. Maybe that only would have included the tzitzis. Tzitzis alone is called all the mitzvahs. Damama shkol mitzvahs tzitzis connected kol mitzvahs of the Torah. That tzitzis equals, is balanced, weighs as much as all the other mitzvahs of the Torah. So it still wouldn't have been clear. V'lish b'yason de mekayim mitzvah Torah. So that maybe Moshe should have said, do the Torah, swear that you're going to come do the Torah. Doesn't Torah mean Torah? No, maybe Torah means something else. Mashma Torah achas. Maybe it means one of the two Torahs. What's the one of the, they say Torah Shabbat, Torah Shabbat Peh, that there are two Torahs. Like they asked Shammai, how many Torahs do you have? He says two. Torah Shabbat, Torah Shabbat Peh. So that's because they're going to do Torah. It means that maybe only one of the Torahs. So say Toros. V'lish b'yason de mekayim mitzvah Toros. So Moshe Rabbeinu should have said the word Toros, and then it would have meant everything. No, Mashma Toros, Mincha Toros, Chatos, Toros Hashem. It says the Torah a lot of times. This is Toros Hashem. These are laws. So even if you say Toros, so it means two laws. So even if they would have said we swear we're going to do Toros, maybe it just means two of the laws. It doesn't mean all the laws. Maybe it would have said that. That would have been clear already. No, the Gemara still says it wouldn't have been clear. Toros Mashma Toros Mincha. And mitzvahs, mashma, mitzvahs, amor. It still could be that each one means something else. I'm going to do two laws, whatever, two mitzvahs, two Torahs, and the mitzvahs means the kings. So it still wouldn't have been clear. Maybe it would have said, to make them swear, I'm going to do the whole Torah. It would have said the whole Torah, they can't get out of it. No, that also doesn't necessarily mean everything. Torah, kula, mashma, avodah zarah. If you would have said the whole Torah, that doesn't mean everything. It just means I'm not going to do avodah zarah, as you find. That avodah zarah is called the whole Torah, the Tanya. Avodah zarah shekol hakol fabak kilo kofeh modeh the Torah kula. If a person admits, agrees to avodah zarah, it's as if he denied the whole Torah. The avodah zarah equals the whole Torah. So if he says, I swear I'm going to do the whole Torah, maybe it just means I'm not going to do avodah zarah. Avodah zarah the Torah kula. There's no way. Moshe Rabbeinu could have narrowed it down that they shouldn't have been able to get out of it. If they would have said that we're going to fulfill the mitzvah of avodah zarah, means we're not going to do avodah zarah and the whole Torah. Then for sure you include this. Then there's no way out, because you can't say Torah kula means avodah zarah because he said avodah zarah and the whole Torah. That would be a way that Moshe Rabbeinu could have narrowed it down, that they surely meant what they said. Inami sheish me'os
I'll keep. Isn't the other mitzvahs which are the whole Torah, like tzitzis?
Again, no, Torah kula. Torah kula, the only thing more found, mitzvah, kol mitzvahs, the more found tzitzis. But kol Torah, the only found avodah zarah. But if he says avodah zarah and kol Torah, so then it already means the whole Torah. Or they could have said another thing Moshe Rabbeinu could have done. Inam mishesh me'asher shlosh esrei mitzvahs. We're going to do the 613 mitzvahs. That means the whole Torah. It doesn't mean already the king's mitzvahs. It doesn't mean avodah zarah. It doesn't mean tzitzis. It means 613 mitzvahs. That's more than saying all the mitzvahs. 613 means everything. So what is all this Gemara aiming at? Which way are we going? That when a person says something, could he make up his own ideas? Could he make it according to what he thinks? And the Mishnah, the statement that we said is that a person can make up his own. It's always going to be al da'atenu, the way we think it. And what is it? Which I'm lost a little bit. If anybody can help me, which way are we trying to prove? The Gemara started off saying that maybe they would have called avodah zarah aloha. Which direction are we trying to prove? The statement we said, the Mishnah says that when someone says Olim Mitzrayim, he means exaggeration. And the one asked, maybe it's not exaggeration, maybe he means ants. He made up something that we don't understand like that. We don't think when he says Olim Mitzrayim, he means people. Maybe it's the way he thinks. And the Gemara is trying to take the position, no, that it has to be all that thing. Whenever he says something, it's the way we understood. The Gemara now, when they ask the kasha from Moshe Rabbeinu, what do the more want to take? They more want to challenge us. That you see that if they wouldn't have said beferish, if Moshe Rabbeinu wouldn't have said beferish, al dati al dasamokom, so then they might have gotten out of it. They might have done it according to their own understanding. That's what the Gemara is. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu had to say that. So where are we taking it from there? And the more found.
The Moshe Rabbeinu said lo al dati.
No, not there. He has to speak out. Don't do any tricks. Don't make up that the word aloha means something else. It must be that they would have been able to get out of it. If the Moshe Rabbeinu wouldn't have said, they would have been able to get out of it. And the more things that means that you could make a shvua with your own ideas. And it will be how the way he meant it only. So that's a challenge against our Mishnah, because our Mishnah says that is an exaggeration. So did the Gemara deflect that truth?
Yes. Well, at the end, Elo Moshe Rabbeinu uses the word picha, no.
So this
It's
is,
easier for him, not because you can make your own shvua.
so the more gonna, so you can't make, so the more saying,
Now we were saying that he
Well,
was
what was the
trying-
whole
he
list
could have
of
been
things?
specific, right?
it could have been, what is the more driving at
That
that time?
person is going to exaggerate, and he's not nishbal dasat.
That we want to take, we're answering the whole time.
Exaggerating, and he's not nishbal dasat with the true name.
I'm not following. The case that the Gemara wanted is that they'll say aloha and they mean about the Zohar. What is that called? That's called that he's doing it the way he thinks, not the way we think.
Right.
And Moshe Rabbeinu different had to stop it by saying you're doing it al dati v'asmakom. So that's a kasha. Well, that's a kasha. Is there an answer to that kasha?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
The very end. Elo Moshe Rabbeinu, why did he do it? Not because it would work. It wouldn't work. He said that lashon because it was just easier for him to say it
Then to say what?
than to
Then to say all these things. Each time, but that means that they could have. That's I'm not getting it. That means that they could have done it al das atzmon. The Gemara is trying to prove the fact that he had to say you're doing it al dati, that they could have gotten out of it. Is that because the Gemara is saying that this is not considered das? This is not considered some invention. This is considered that's what the words mean. Is that what the Gemara is doing? If he wouldn't have said, I don't have clarity still. I thought I had it, but I don't see. I don't have clarity. Which way is the Gemara going? The Gemara, the kasha would be if you could make an invention and make your own nether. That's an invention, and we took the mamish is mashma. You can't do that. When you say something, it's the way we understood. And the kasha is Moshe Rabbeinu who had to say you're doing it al dati, al dasamokum. If not, they could have made some kind of invention what they meant. And what's the Gemara doing the whole time? We're asking these different possibilities of what Moshe could have, what they might have meant.
Fine saying. Why would Moshe have said?
these would all be okay because it's true.
They-
It's the truth. These things are true. These are not made up things.
There's all these
These are not-
examples.
None of these things are made up things. These are real true things.
So then the Gemara has that.
So that's not not al das atzmon. That's real
So
true.
then I read something wrong over here. Where's the Gemara start over here? My love lafuki da siku shmo lavo de zori aloha. Mechlal dablin ishtem shtar badai de nafshe. The Gemara says lo avo de zori ikri aloha. I skipped the line or so. Wait. The Gemara thought that I didn't have. Thank you. I read it before under my breath. I didn't have that something that everything's changing. Thank you. The Gemara thought that the call of the Zohar Aloha is an invention. That's like calling Olim Mitzrayim ants on the same level. So that the Gemara said, you see, that if you wouldn't have said Al Das Mokom Al Dati, so then they could have made such an invention and called Avodah Zarah Aloha. So the Gemara says, no, that's low. Avodah Zarah Ikri Aloha. It really is. I read it as.
Yeah, you really
Right,
right.
right.
I don't think so because
You
the
said
low.
low avodah zarah.
Low. Avodah Zarah Ikri Aloha. The Gemara thought that they would make an invention and call Avodah Zarah Aloha the same way as an invention to call all the Mitzrayim ants. So then the Gemara said, oh, you see, Moshe Rabbeinu had to be a fuke because they could have made an invention and called Avodah Zarah Aloha. The Gemara says, no, lo, Avodah Zarah Ikri Aloha. It really is called Aloha. It's a normal name. It's a normal name for Avodah Zarah to be called Aloha, like it says, Elohim Mitzrayim. So that Moshe Rabbeinu had to get out of because they might have said, all the mitzvahs can mean tzitzis, and the Torah can mean Asham and Chatas, and all the Torahs can mean Avodah Zarah. Then the more at the end narrowed it down. The more really said they could have said if you wanted to, if they couldn't have made an invention, he could have said Avodah Zarah and Torah Kula or 613, and then, but he had to say out, and he still had to say Al Das Al Dati Vadas Mokum that he shouldn't say 613. Well, their own 613, the new 613 laws of etiquette. They make their own 613. That's the Gemara's point. And the Gemara is saying, no, you're wrong. 613 for sure would have meant all the mitzvahs, and Torah and Avodah Zarah would have meant everything. But he wouldn't have had to make al da'at v'al mokum. So why did he? Moshe Rabbeinu built the lo tzricha nakat. He said something an easy way. He could have said that. He could have said Avodah Zarah and the whole Torah. He could have said 613. But he did an easy way. He said al da'at v'al mokum. But a person cannot invent a word that it doesn't mean at all, that no one takes it to mean that. Us, that's very good. I missed the one word over there, the low, and everything was good. So the more comes out, the mission is right, that when you make a shvua, a neder, and you say a word, it means the word the way it's understood by the human race, not the way you invented that the word might mean in your own dictionary. No personal dictionary. The more continues. Another example of exaggeration was that he saw a snake which Pashpashat is as big as a beam. The Gemara says, is there no snake as big as a beam? There are snakes as big as a beam. Anybody know about the big snakes?
And the conda,
Yeah, we were in the
python,
museum.
big pythons, sure.
How big are they?
Pythons.
Gigantic.
As big as a
Longer
beam.
than this world.
And how
Thick.
how
That's good.
They can be pretty big.
huge? Okay, that's more says that there are such snakes. Below is there's no such snake as big as a beam. But who chivya to have a bishnani the shvar malka? There was a snake. A chivya is a snake in the years of King Shabor. There was a Persian king. His name was Shabor. There was a snake in the years of Shvar Malka. They gave him 13 stable barns full of straw, and he ate everything. He was a big snake. So there are such big snakes.
Yeah, but they're only straw,
Straw.
but the amount of, they gave them food, because they only eat live things.
They only eat live things.
Yeah,
I think somewhere on the side it says
Uh-huh.
that it's
Rodents.
the amount of
Of that.
of those barns.
Uh-huh. But anyway, see, there are such big snakes, and we could ask the kasha from other places that we know that there are such big snakes. That doesn't mean the size of the snake. It means that it's, what's the word Torah in English? If anybody has, it's going to mean that it's not a smooth, it's the opposite of smooth. The beam that they use for pressing olives is not a smooth beam. It has traction, something like that. It's made what?
Bumps, you know.
Bumps, traction, or something. Yeah, that's, in a way that there are grooves, in a way that probably that it'll crush the olive shouldn't fall away, whatever the case will be. And that's what he meant to say. He meant to say that he saw a snake that looks the same as a olive beam, olive press beam. The olive press beam is not the fact that it's so big. It would have killed us a beam. And the beam, there are such kind of snakes, but that it has the same texture as that was the chiddush. She saw a snake that looks like but the Gemara says, Kulu Nachshi Mitriv Tarfi. They're all like that. The snakes do have. So I don't think it means, a question if it means, some of us say a manuma that has spots. I'm not sure. I didn't get close enough to a snake to see if anybody did. That it says that it does have some kind of either spots or some kind of grooves in its skin. The Gemara says, Agabo Torah of Kamrina. We mean the back. The back, it means the bottom, the belly, that the underside of the snake has that, but not the top. And he saw a snake that has these grooves or spots.
I thought the
even
god
on-
is the back.
That's what I was answered. I think he saw that I
You
saw.
just said the belly.
I said the opposite of the back.
Uh-huh.
I was explaining the opposite. First I said the back, and then I explained that which the Nachash has Torah, the Moses asked the Kasha, that all the Nachashim are Torah. The answer is that we're talking about the back. The ones that what does it mean that the Nachash has it? We say that all the
On the
snakes have it.
back.
All the snakes have it on the belly, but this snake had it on his back. On his back. That's the Meshunadik thing. I saw a snake like that has these taruf on its back.
I'm sorry. So we're starting with Agabo. How do you?
That's the answer. The answer is Agabo Taruf Kamina. We meant to say in our Mishnah that he saw its back was taruf, that its belly was taruf. It's not a chiddush. All the snakes are like that. But I saw a snake that its back was taruf. That's why it's different.
Okay.
The more it says, well, this need Torah. Why doesn't it say so? Why does it have to say such a fancy thing about Korah's Beis Habad, the olive press beam? The answer is Milsa Agavucha Kamashma that wants to tell you a side point. The Korah's Beis Habad Gabo Torah, that the oil press beam is supposed to be Torah. It's supposed to be grooves, traction. You might not know what is the difference to us to know that. The Mechel Memka in business.
Milsa Agab.
Milsa Agavucha Kamashma. It's telling you something by the way. Milsa, Davar, Agav, Orcha.
Oh, by the way, it's
By the
telling
way.
you.
It's telling you something by the way. Aside, once give you a side
Oh,
point
I see.
that a Korah's Beis Habad is supposed to be Torah. What's the difference? I guess the point that they have it is for traction is better way of pressing the olives. The mind after me know what is the difference to us. The Mekach Memkach, a business that if somebody sold the Korah's Beis Habad, Lo Malacha, Amocha Korah's Beis Habad Lechavero, Igab Torah in Ilolo. Somebody buys a oil press beam. And then when it comes to his house, he sees that it's smooth. He sends it back and says, "It's not what I ordered. I ordered a Korah's Beis Habad." It's not a good sale. Yashikov, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're off to what? 25 days.
In the cafe,
Next time we start copying about the taste for the face.
Thank you.
So we learned what happened. What we learned today, one dot.
We learned a lot of good stuff.
We
Thank you, put it very well.
We didn't learn any more than.